People often ask me, what is the difference between an advisor, a fractional resource, or an interim resource? Look, an advisor is someone who is not in the day-to-day of your business. They're not going to know all of the details in your business. They're not in the thick of your business. They're there to advise you, question you. Yes, they will be aware of some of the things in your business, but they're really there to help you kind of think differently, challenge the way that you're thinking. They're there to make network introductions for you, and very much abstracted relationship. And interim resource is someone who is stepping in temporarily, full time, for a period of time, for 2 months, for 3 months, for 6 months. It is someone who is taking over the day-to-day of a role, and they're doing it as an interim period. Sometimes they're stepping in interim because they're internal and they're stepping to cover while someone else is there. And sometimes, especially in scale up, you need to hire an external party to be that interim resource. Often that's a great opportunity to get some senior expertise that wants to help you during that period of time, but doesn't necessarily want to be in that industry or in that geography or some other condition where they don't want to be with your company long term, but you will be able to leverage their expertise. And often some interim resources will only take the role knowing that you're actively recruiting for something else. And others will take the interim role because it's a trial of a role that they might want to consider full-time, and it's kind of a try before you buy. And lastly, a fractional resource or a fractional C-suite or fractional help is exactly that. It's someone who is in between those two solutions where they're not full-time to your company. They're usually mentoring someone or providing some bridge, some strategic support bridge, but they do roll up their sleeves and they do know your company. They just don't work full-time for your company. And there's a couple reasons that someone would want to do that. One of them is they are trying to not work full time and they want to be engaged with something at that level and they just don't want to work full time. Maybe they want to work full time and they want to work for your company, but you don't have the funds, and so you get to an agreement where they're a fractional resource. And other times, people just like to be that fractional resource for a period of time for 2 to 3 companies. Now, as a C-suite executive, if they're a solopreneur, I don't think that they could do more than 3 companies fractional. And understand that fractional resources are meant also to be temporary. They're just a bridge to give you lift, to either mentor someone to bring them up or to give you strategic lift, and your team can do the execution. They can help you with the strategy. They can help you with the mentoring. They do go lower than an advisor. Really what they're doing is getting you and your company ready for the next level, maybe the next revenue level, the next transaction, whatever it is. Typically, a fractional resource in a C-suite is there for maybe 12 to 18 months. And it's a really good solution, especially for first stage scale-ups who don't have the scale or funds to hire someone senior as they would like. They can get a fractional resource and that person can help. That model only works if you have someone in the role underneath them that's an executor. They don't have to be the same level, but they definitely have to be in the company executing, because that fractional resource is a senior person and they don't want to do the day-to-day of the execution. And it's not because they can't, it's just because they choose not to do that work anymore. They will often do it enough to train the other person. It's just not how they want to spend their time. And in fact, it would be very expensive for them to do that execution work, because their billable rate is really for their strategic experience. And if you're paying them to do some of those execution work, it's really not cost effective for you either. But an interim and fractional C-suite are very good options, as well as an advisor role as well. If you need someone in the role and there isn't someone in the role, I would definitely be going for a fractional or an interim. An advisor is really someone, I think, who can help take a current C-suite person who's already a C-suite person, whether it's the CEO or CMO, to the next level. I think that advisor role is really to take that executive that's already there to the next level, whereas an interim or fractional resource is coming in to fill a gap One of them is to provide full-time gap coverage, and the other one is to provide part-time strategic help that is helping to ensure the execution is happening more effectively or doing the right things. So I hope that helps. That is an advisor, a fractional resource, a fractional C-suite, or an interim C-suite. Thanks.